So here we're going to be learning how to do some basic audio editing. Adobe does have its own audio editor, but I decided to not overwhelm you with stuff that is going to be more complicated. So if you would like to use it, it's called Adobe Audition, and it is included in your subscription. So if you want to check that out, Adobe Audition has a lot more audio-specific features, but we can do a lot of the audio editing that you would need to do for making a documentary in Premiere, so we're just going to stick to that. So I brought in a MP3 file. MP3s are a compressed audio format that's pretty common, and I took this audio from an interview that we did for the Student News this year. So I want you to have some practice editing this up. Some of the basic things that you need to know are about how to balance the audio. So that's always tricky. So here I'm going to go click on audio, and you should see this Essential Sound panel pop up over here. If you don't see it, make sure you go to Window and click Essential Sound. And then when you hear it, you'll hear me talking a little bit. What I want to do and Premiere is going to do this for me somewhat. I'm going to go ahead and clear audio type. If you don't see that it's already tagged it with a type of sound, this is dialogue, because this is people talking. And I'm going to use the preset of balanced high tone, because the main voice that I'm concerned about here is the Mrs. Barker's voice. She's the testing coordinator, and I'm going to balance that, and that should auto match that. So you can see that automatically raised up the waveform. You can see it kind of shot up a little bit there. So what that does is it goes ahead and balances it for you, and you see some other options here. The audio that I have is pretty clean, so I don't need to reduce noise or rumble or like an electric hum in there. That's what that would be for. But these are all the options you have for how you can adjust audio even within Premiere, so that's pretty useful. What you're going to do now is I want you to go through and cut out the parts where it's just me talk, where I want you to cut out the parts with anybody at Mrs. Barker talking. So I'm talking to her while we were doing the interview and kind of guiding her with some questions. I want you to edit it down so that it's about 30 seconds. So we started with 3 minutes. So you can cut out whatever parts you need to. It just needs to be 30 seconds, and it needs to be containing the introduction and the conclusion and any other parts that you deem fit. But only Mrs. Barker's voice should be heard. When you're done with that, you're going to pick out some instrumental music, and I have a bunch that I am going to just steal from the Student News folder. So you can download that from previous projects that you've used, or you can use some of the websites that you know about. This is the Immortal Kevin MacLeod, and this is a lot longer than it needs to be. I'm going to use Remix. I'm just going to shorten it to, I said your edit needed to be about 30 seconds. So there's my edit. It's about 30 seconds. And again, in Essential Sound, it's popped up the preset as music. If it's not showing up as that, I'm going to clear that. You just tag it as music. And I'm going to do balanced background music. So that should go ahead and lower that. And I'm going to fade in and fade out the music a little bit. You can just use those little handles. Okay. All right, take it away.
Hi, I'm Rachel Barker.
You might want to listen to that and just make sure that it's not too loud in case there's a little overpowering. You can always turn it down a little bit here. Again, in Essential Sound, I could just turn it down like that. You can use whatever sound you want. But again, I just want to hear Rachel talking, and it needs to be 30 seconds of her introducing herself and then talking a little bit about herself, and you can ignore the rest of that as long as you have the intro, the outro, and just her voice talking. Make sure you have the balanced background. When you're ready to export this time, we're going to do it a little bit differently because this is an audio-only situation. So most of the time when you've been exporting, we use H.264. H.264 is general standard video, but we're not doing video here. We're only doing audio. So I want you to do, when you get to this screen and you're doing export, make sure that you go down here a little bit, and MP3 is one of your options there. So that'll make sure it's exporting as an audio-only file. It needs to be audio-only because this time I don't need any extra sounds at all. But that is going to be, other than that, the same way you usually export. Just make sure you change to MP3 this time and hit the export button.